Hello everyone and good afternoon from the beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you for joining in on today's kind of impromptu podcast episode where I will be giving the scoop on the basics of intermittent fasting. If you are tuning in live on Facebook, first off, thank you. I will be answering all of your questions after the segment for the podcast. So please be patient and I'll get to you as soon as I can. So, because this will be the kind of intro to intermittent fasting, because there's a plethora of information out there, we're just going to touch the surface on what intermittent fasting is, some of the benefits, and how you can apply it to your lifestyle. So let's get started, okay? So what is intermittent fasting? Dun, dun, dun. Number one, it is not a diet, nor are you starving yourself, okay? So let's get that straight. You are simply making a conscious and intuitive decision to skip certain meals on purpose. You're going by how you feel. So essentially, it's a pattern of eating that fits into your lifestyle. And it's one of our favorite fat loss methods to incorporate with our clients because, number one, it's free and flexible, meaning you can take it anywhere with you, okay? No charge. It doesn't cost a dime. Number two, it has awesome advantages from neurological to fat loss benefits, which we'll touch base on. It will simplify your day, meaning you don't have to eat every 2 hours or be glued and live by the clock. Nay, you don't have to. And lastly, it's a time saver because you get to spend less time in the kitchen. And I know all of us, that's kind of ideally a great scenario where we don't have to spend hours in the kitchen, me included. So we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna start with just a few of the many benefits that fasting can create. So what do you get out of fasting? Well, number one, fasting is a free and natural tool to help you burn fat. That's a win, okay? Let me give you a little backstory. So while you're in a fasted state, which means you're not going to be consuming any food or calories for a specific amount of time, your body now has an opportunity to tap into fat stores as a form of energy. So because you're not putting any food in, you're not eating at all, the body doesn't have to burn or process those calories. So you're gonna need energy from somewhere else. And that somewhere else is stored fat. Belly fat, yeah, absolutely. And body fat is now the only energy source available for your body to use. Ha! Win! Yes! So this is why I personally love training in a fasted state. I never eat before my workouts. That's a personal preference. But I purposefully schedule my workouts so that they're, early morning to mid-morning, where my insulin is already low because it's being depleted while I sleep. And my body will now have to access stored fat because I'm in a fasted state. I haven't given it anything to eat or burn off, so it will use my fat as that energy source. In addition to helping you burn fat, your sympathetic nervous system, and what's your sympathetic nervous system? This is that fight or flight mode. That's that system. This is going to be activated after longer periods of fasting. So what does that mean? Well, that means that natural hormones like noradrenaline and epinephrine, they're going to be stimulated. They're going to start to produce, and these are those fight hormones that kind of get you jacked and wired, that create that natural rush of energy during not only mid-morning, but during your workouts, during your fasted workouts. So I rarely need a pre-workout because my body is being rushed with noradrenaline and epinephrine. And a lot of our clients will attest to the amount of hyper-focus that they have and the moments of clarity in the morning when they're in a fasted state. All of that holds true. And so contrary to what you may think, you will actually have more energy while you're in a fasted state because these hormones are activated. They're fully activated. So your body's in high gear. It is revved, which in turn will increase your metabolism. Aha! Yes, it's kind of great stuff. So again, that's just your fat burning abilities when you're in a fasting mode. So another benefit of fasting comes from how it impacts growth hormone. Now, most of us know that growth hormone actually decreases with age, but as an adult, if you do have low growth hormone, this can essentially lead to more body fat, less muscle mass, and a reduction in bone density. That's a negative trifecta. So because growth hormone is highly involved in protein synthesis and fat metabolism, all of these things can take place if your growth hormone is low, meaning, again, more body fat, less bone density, not good things. Also, keep in mind that frequent eating can suppress the production and the secretion of growth hormone. So if you are snacking constantly throughout the day, you may be more susceptible for storing fat. So that's a side note. Fasting comes in handy here because it is the most natural stimulus for growth hormone production. Amen. It is a natural stimulus for growth hormone production. There are no drugs required for this, okay? Fasting is like your drug. It's great and it's natural. I'm going to reference one of my favorite fasting books by Dr. Jason Fung. I'm a huge fan, and this book in particular is called The Complete Guide to Fasting, and I'll put this in the podcast notes. And Dr. Fung cited a study of a religious 40-day fast, and what he found that at baseline, growth hormone had increased from 0.73 nanograms per milliliter to almost 9.86 nanograms per milliliter. What is it? So think about it, 0.73 to 9.86. That is a 1,250% increase in growth hormone just by fasting. Now, it's highly unlikely that we're going to do a 40-day fast. Most of us just can't and won't do it by choice. But it goes to show you that growth hormone doesn't get depleted by fasting. It actually steps up and increases a lot. Yeah. And another study that he cited, Dr. Jason Fung, showed maybe it was a 5-fold increase in response to just 2 days of fasting. Just 2 days of fasting, the growth hormone increased 5-fold. I think that's more doable for a couple of us. I know my husband can easily do that. So again, goes to show you growth hormone actually increases with fasting. Awesome. So on top of helping us burn fat and increase growth hormone, fasting will also simplify your day. All of us we would like to be simple creatures at heart, but it doesn't happen because life happens. So what happens is when you fast, you're likely going to end up consolidating a few of your meals, meaning 2 to 3 larger meals throughout the day. And they're going to be more satisfying because it's bigger, of course. Bigger is better sometimes. And you don't have to eat like a rabbit. For those of you with bigger appetites, you can have larger meals and it's going to be okay. The act of fasting also has major benefits for your gut because your gut will actually not always be on overdrive, because when you're constantly feeding it, it's trying to process the calories that you're consuming. You never give it a break. So when you fast, you're giving your gut simply a break, and it's almost like this natural cleanse, a detox for your gut. It's awesome. And then, of course, with larger meals, your snacking will kind of slowly go away over time, especially if you incorporate it as a daily habit, because you're going to be, again, more satisfied having larger meals throughout the day. You won't want to snack. And if you are hungry in between meals, it's probably because you need water instead. So reduced snacking also has its benefits because that means your insulin is going to stay low. And we all know that we want insulin low at the end of the day because that helps us burn more fat. Secondly, your levels of stress are going to be majorly reduced knowing that you don't always have to think about feeding your body. You don't have to panic when you ate at 12 o'clock and it's now 2 o'clock. Where's your food? Where's your food? You don't have to panic. Take a chill pill, okay? Eating every 2 hours really doesn't hold any ground versus eating once or twice per day. The frequency is irrelevant, okay? So know that you don't have to rely on the clock and you don't have to eat every 2 hours to stoke your metabolism, okay? All of that is false. Again, completely irrelevant. Fasting can also simplify your day by making it easier when you travel. We have so many clients that travel, locally to globally. And this is something that my husband and I do all the time whenever we make our travels to Europe and Hungary. We fast while we're at the airport and while we're on the plane. Well, number one, airplane food is disgusting, okay, personal belief. And what they feed you is not necessarily the best, as far as macros wise. It's carb heavy, dairy heavy, who knows. So to prevent you from having an upset stomach from bad airport food or bad, plane food, you fast. You don't eat. You do not have to eat. That is a personal choice, okay? But it gives you almost incentive knowing that you can eat big upon the arrival at your destination. So if you plan ahead and okay, we're hitting up this spot as soon as we get off the ground, or from the air, we're going this place and I'm going to indulge. And why? Because you've fasted for an extended period of time. You can afford to do it. It's a luxury almost. Also, you can apply fasting during road trips. For instance, Miss Hurricane Irma coming through our way. A lot of our clients left their location and went up north. And with that said, they spent quite a few hours on the road in the car, and the fasting comes in handy because what are your options while you're on the road? Well, gas stations sometimes, and you may not have healthy restaurants available to you. So what's the next option? Fast. Just fast. You don't have to subject your body to crap food or gas station food. You don't have to eat it. Drink some water, have a carbonated soda, club soda, and call it a day. You do not have to snack. Snacking doesn't mean, or fasting doesn't mean you're going to starve to death. No, you're just giving your body a break, okay? So lots of benefits when it comes to simplifying your day and less freak out modes, and cortisol is going to drop, and all of my females know cortisol needs to be down in order for us to burn more fat. Fasting can stimulate fat burning. It can increase your growth hormone tenfold and can simplify your day. And those are just a few of the many, 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 many benefits. So, moving on. Let's get into how you can actually apply the fasting into your lifestyle. So, I'm going to use two different examples. First example is for my early risers, my eager beavers. If you find that you have more energy in the morning after you have, say, an early AM breakfast, then this application is going to be for you. So let's say you break your fast, you have your breakfast at 7 or 8 a.m. This means that your last meal should be consumed no later than 6 p.m. And that's just allowing for enough time for your body to go into a fasting mode after your last meal. So simply put, for an early riser, you're just going to skip a late dinner. Now, I'll use myself as the second example. I practice intermittent fasting on a regular basis, and I have for about 5 years now. So my last meal normally ends at about, I'd say, 8 o'clock on a normal weekly schedule, and I'll fast through the night, and then I won't break my fast until maybe at the earliest 12 o'clock, or even 1, or even 2. And that means my eating window is from 2 p.m. to about 8 p.m. So that's about a 6-hour eating window. That's a lot of food to cram in, but my body can tolerate it because I've trained it to do it that way. I didn't initially start off that way. So my lifestyle means that I skip an early breakfast and instead have a bigger lunch, which is really I'm breaking my fast, so it's essentially my breakfast, if that makes sense. So you have quite a few options. If you absolutely have to have your early morning breakfast, by all means, please have at it. But know that you should probably have an earlier dinner so that your body has a chance to burn off those excess calories and actually start to tap into your body fat stores. So something key to understand here is that these windows can fluctuate, and they will fluctuate because life happens. We get invited to social events, and those social events normally go till, who knows, 10 p.m. to midnight. That means you're likely eating and snacking and noshing on things later in the day and later throughout the evening. So you can just move your window a little bit later the next day. There's some flexibility there. You just don't eat until a later time the next day. Totally fine, no big deal. But I will say, the more consistent you are about the timing of your meals, the better your body will have a chance to respond to it because of a few different factors. Number one, your circadian rhythm, your sleep schedule, your hormones, your stress levels, your hunger levels. All of those you have to take into consideration. We want to have as much consistency as possible at the end of the day. Otherwise, you're just going to be in a constant limbo of, am I really hungry or am I not hungry? So consistency is key in the long run. And for my beginner fasters, if you have never even heard of the word fasting or have ever fasted in general, you're going to want to start with a longer eating window. Meaning, as a general recommendation, when we first meet with females or males, for a women's eating window, we normally start with maybe 12 to 14 hours of them to get in their food. For males, it's anywhere between 8 to 12 hours. We take into consideration female hormones and things like that. That's why it's extended. And more so than not, most females tend to snack more than men. So it's a lifestyle thing. So about 5 years ago, when I actually started intermittent fasting and was introduced to it by my husband Daniel, I originally started with a 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. eating window. So that gave me 10 hours of eating. It was great, but I found that I could slowly over time wait till 12 to break my fast. I wasn't as hungry. And then now I'm at 2 p.m. I sometimes go to 4 p.m., but that's my lifestyle and I am used to it. I am accustomed to it. My body has adjusted to it because I know that I can just have a larger meal, a balanced meal, and I'll be okay. I don't overthink it anymore. Whereas I used to eat on the clock every 2 hours. I've been on both sides of the fence, so I know both sides to that story. So a couple of helpful tips and things to keep in mind when you're first starting fasting, intermittent fasting at that. Be aware that it will be a little uncomfortable in the very beginning because your body's adjusting to it. This is something different. It's very unique. And those hunger centers really don't know what's going on. So please know that those hunger pains that you get in the morning when you're fasting, they will go away. They will subside. It's not like they stay there all day. No, they'll be there around a minute or so, and then it will dissipate. You just have to be patient with it. Hunger hormones are suppressed over time. Worst case scenario, drink a little bit of water, it'll go away. Okay, no big deal. Also remember that while you sleep, say hopefully 6 to 8 hours, you're depriving your body of water. So when you first wake up, that initial hunger pain is almost 100% is your body telling you that you're dehydrated. Not that you're hungry for, an egg, bacon, and cheese biscuit. No, it's crying for water because it's dehydrated. Start with water the first thing that you do in the morning, okay? I guarantee that will help subside that hunger hormone. Also, while you're fasting throughout the morning, a couple of things. You want to try to stick to low-calorie beverages. For instance, water, number one. Coffee. Coffee's great, as well as unsweetened teas. Specifically talking about coffee, if you need a sweetener and you need to add something to give it, if you're used to doing honey or maple syrup or something, I would definitely encourage you to wean yourself off of those things and try to get on an all-natural sweetener like stevia or monk monk fruit extract, and that's so that you don't spike your insulin first thing in the morning, because more than likely you'll not only spike your insulin, causing you to store more fat, but you're going to break your fast, so it defeats the whole purpose. If you absolutely have to have a creamer, meaning you are on that international delight like white on rice, I'm going to tell you, we're going to want you to wean off of that over time. You want to try to transition to a dairy-free and low-sugar substitute, for instance, brands like So Delicious, or even just coconut milk, or even a heavy creamer, something that's 0 sugars but more in fat. That's going to be 10 times better than something that has both fat and sugar. So label reading is going to come in handy here. Healthy fats like coconut oil, coconut milk, ghee, which is clarified butter, MCT oils, those good omegas, they're going to have a minimal impact on your insulin. So you're better off having that versus that international delight. So you can still add stuff to your coffee. We just need to make a couple of swaps here and there. Again, I'm an advocate for stevia. I forget the name of the one I use, but I've tried several different forms. If you need that sweetness, you can supplement there. I would definitely avoid using Splenda or any type of aspartame or sucralose, those artificial sweeteners. Those will not do you any good after a while. So what I want you to do is to take one of those tips and apply it this week, whether it's skipping your breakfast and just pushing it to a later time during the day. You can still have breakfast-like items, you just have them later. It's okay. I love my eggs and bacon at noontime. It's wonderful. It's a late brunch almost. Or you can also try, let's say, oh gosh, what else can you do to start? Maybe fasting through a late dinner. Try it. You don't know until you try. And know that, again, it's not one way or this way. There are so many different ways to incorporate intermittent fasting. And just keep in mind that it will take time and your body will adjust to those things. We're just giving you this additional fat loss tool because it's so easy. Remember, it's free and flexible, and it's got awesome advantages. It will save you time in the kitchen, and it's just, again, overall, an amazing time saver. I would say, 85% of our clients do practice a form of intermittent fasting, and they'll tell you that they love it. My family knows that I love it. I've done it for, again, the past 5 years, and I look forward to many other benefits along the road. So, again, intermittent fasting, that's the intro to it. We will touch base on more benefits later on and how to incorporate longer extended periods of fasting once you become more advanced. But for now, keep it simple and enjoy your larger meals because you'll feel great afterwards. Again, my name is Nina. Thank you guys for joining, and I hope that, again, you take one tip from what I encouraged earlier and apply it. That's the biggest thing, just apply it. You guys have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you guys and hearing you guys for feedback and on the next episode.